I was working the night shift at a boutique hotel in Kyoto when an American woman in her 30s walked up to my desk around 11 p.m. She looked exhausted from her flight. Her suitcase had a Yale Law sticker on it. "Hi, so I'm starving," she said. "Where's the vending machine?" I smiled and gestured toward the small lounge area. "Please, help yourself to anything there. It's complimentary." She glanced over at the spread. Rice crackers, instant miso soup, green tea, some fruit. Her face fell. "Oh, do you have, like, a vending machine with real snacks? Chips or candy bars?" "This is what we offer for evening refreshments," I explained. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she pulled out her wallet. "Okay, how much for the crackers?" "No charge. It's included with your stay." "Right, but how much if I want to take some to my room?" "Still no charge." "That's why it's there." She looked genuinely uncomfortable, like I was trying to trick her into something. She took one rice cracker, thanked me 3 times, and hurried to the elevator. The next morning, I found a $5 bill on the counter where the snacks had been. She'd left it there at 6 a.m. before I arrived. My coworker told me that moment stuck with me because it was so innocent. She wasn't being difficult. She genuinely couldn't process that something could just be free without conditions. No hidden fees, no catch, just hospitality. A few months before that, I was visiting my cousin in Bergen, Norway. She worked at a mountain cabin that hosted hiking groups. An American family showed up one afternoon, a couple in their 50s with 2 teenage kids. The cabin offered coffee, tea, and homemade cookies all day. The father kept asking when coffee service hours were. My cousin kept saying, "Anytime, just help yourself." He didn't believe her. He waited until she physically walked him to the coffee station and poured him a cup. Then he asked if he should sign something or give his room number. She just laughed and said, "You already paid for your stay. The coffee is part of that." He looked relieved, but also confused, like he'd been waiting for a trick that never came. My friend who works at a pharmacy in Amsterdam told me about an American student who came in to buy cold medicine. The pharmacist spent 10 minutes asking about her symptoms, suggesting the right medication, explaining dosage. When he was done, the student said, "Okay, so how much do I owe you for the consultation?" He blinked. "Nothing. I'm helping you buy the right product." She insisted on tipping him. He refused. She left the money on the counter anyway, and practically ran out. These stories all have the same thread: Americans encountering genuine hospitality and assuming there's a bill coming. But that was just the beginning. I was working as a tour guide in Reykjavik when I met Tom, a retired firefighter from Michigan. Nice guy, early 60s, traveling solo. We were doing a Golden Circle day trip with about 12 people on the bus. Around noon, we stopped at a geothermal area for lunch. There was a small visitor center with a cafe. I told everyone they had an hour, and there was free coffee and water inside. Tom approached me 20 minutes later, holding an empty coffee cup. "Hey, I had 2 cups. Do I settle up with you or at the counter?" "It's free," I said. "Yeah, but I had 2. Still free. Have 10 cups if you want." He looked at the cup like it was evidence of a crime. "That doesn't seem right. Coffee costs money." I tried to explain that in Iceland, offering free coffee at tourist stops is just normal. It's hospitality. He nodded, but I could tell he didn't buy it. At the end of the tour, he tried to tip me an extra $20. When I asked why, he said, "For the coffee situation." The same month, my colleague told me about an American college student on a Northern Lights tour. They'd stopped at a farm that offered free hot chocolate while people waited for the lights to appear. The student asked 3 different staff members if the hot chocolate was included. They all said yes. She still didn't drink any. Later, she told my colleague she didn't want to be rude by taking advantage. I work at a community library in Tampere, Finland. Last summer, an American grad student came in to use the computers. She was doing research for 3 hours. When she finished, she came to my desk and asked what she owed. "Nothing. It's a public library." Right, but I use the computer for a long time. That's what it's for. She stood there, clearly uncomfortable. In the States, you usually have to pay for printing or computer time at some libraries. Here, it's free. We're funded by taxes. But I'm not Finnish. I'm not paying taxes here, I smiled. Doesn't matter. You're welcome to use the library. She left, looking slightly guilty, like she'd gotten away with something. She came back the next day with a box of chocolates for the staff. Sweet gesture, but it showed she still felt like she owed us something. My brother works at a hostel in Ljubljana, Slovenia. He told me about an American couple in their late 20s who'd booked a private room. The hostel offered a free breakfast, which was clearly listed on their reservation. Bread, cheese, cold cuts, coffee, juice. Nothing fancy, but decent. The first morning, the couple came down and asked where the paid breakfast area was. My brother pointed to the dining room. That's it. It's included. The woman frowned. But that's a full breakfast. We only paid 30 euros for the room. Yes, breakfast is included in that price. The man pulled out his phone and showed my brother their confirmation email. It doesn't say continental breakfast. It just says breakfast. Shouldn't there be like a basic option and then an upgraded one? My brother had to walk them through the email line by line to prove breakfast was fully included. They still seemed skeptical when they sat down to eat. The next morning, they asked again, just to make sure the policy hadn't changed overnight. I was working at a museum in Buenos Aires when an American family came through. Parents in their 40s, 2 kids around 8 and 10. It was a Tuesday, which meant free admission for everyone. The father approached the ticket desk and asked for 4 tickets. I told him it was free today. He laughed and said, "Yeah, but how much normally? Just so I know what we're saving." "About 1,500 pesos each. But today, no charge." He pulled out his wallet anyway. "What if we want to donate? There's a donation box by the exit if you'd like." He looked uncomfortable with that answer. "Can't I just pay now?" His wife touched his arm. "Honey, it's free. Let's just go in." "But the kids," he said, gesturing to them. 4 people. That's a lot of free. She gently steered him toward the entrance. As they walked past me, I heard him mutter, "Something feels off." I work at a thermal bath in Budapest. It's a public facility, but we also offer free lockers and towels with admission. An American woman, maybe 35, a digital nomad type with a laptop bag, came in one Saturday afternoon. She paid for her ticket, and I handed her a locker key and towel. She looked at them. "How much extra?" "Included." "The towel too?" "Yes." "What if I lose the key?" "Then there's a replacement fee. But if you don't lose it, there's no charge." She held the towel at arm's length. "This is a nice towel." "Thank you." "No, I mean, this seems too nice to be free." I assured her it was standard. She took it, but she folded it so carefully when she returned. That it looked like she was handling museum artifacts. She asked if she could tip the towel attendant. "Don't have a towel attendant." I told her that. She left looking mildly distressed. I was working as a university housing coordinator in Copenhagen when an American exchange student arrived for the fall semester. His name was Jake, 20 years old, from Texas. Friendly kid, big smile, very polite. I showed him to his dorm room. It was a single in a shared apartment with 3 Danish students. Private bedroom, shared kitchen and bathroom. Pretty standard setup. Jake looked around and asked, "So, where do I put my groceries?" "In the kitchen. There's shelf space and part of the fridge." "Which parts can I use?" "You'll coordinate with your flatmates. Usually everyone has their own shelf." He nodded slowly. "And they're okay with me cooking there?" "Yes, it's a shared kitchen. So I can just walk in and cook?" "Anytime?" "Yes, that's the point." "And use their pots and pans?" "They're communal. Provided by housing." He sat on his bed, looking overwhelmed. "In my dorm back home, we had to pay extra for kitchen access, and we couldn't use it after 10 p.m. Here, you can cook whenever you need to." He lived there for 3 weeks before he cooked a single meal. His flatmates told me later that he kept eating takeaway or instant noodles in his room. When they invited him to join a group dinner, he asked if he should pay them for using the stove. They thought he was joking. My cousin works as a host for a homestay program in Christchurch, New Zealand. She had an American guest, a woman in her 50s, doing a solo travel trip. The arrangement was simple. Private bedroom in my cousin's house, shared bathroom, breakfast included. The first morning, my cousin made eggs, toast, and coffee. The guest came down, saw the food, and froze. "Oh, is this for me?" "Yes, breakfast." "You made this?" "That's part of the homestay." The guest sat down but didn't eat right away. "I don't want to impose. You're not. I made enough for both of us. Should I wash the dishes after? If you want to help, sure, but you don't have to." The guest looked at her plate like it was a puzzle. Finally, she started eating. But she was tense the whole time, like she was waiting for something to go wrong. Later that day, she asked my cousin if there were house rules she should know about. Things like shower times, fridge access, laundry, noise hours. My cousin said, "Just be respectful and clean up after yourself." The guest asked her to write it down. My cousin did, even though it was just common sense. The guest kept the note on her nightstand and referred to it daily. I work at a traditional guest house in Marrakech. It's a riad, so it has an inner courtyard, shared dining area, and rooms on the upper floors. Very intimate setting. We serve mint tea throughout the day to guests. It's automatic. You sit down in the courtyard, someone brings you tea. That's just how it works. An American couple arrived one afternoon. They were in their early 40s, dressed in expensive travel gear, very organized types. The husband sat in the courtyard, and my coworker brought him tea. He looked surprised. "Did we order this?" "No, it's complimentary." "Oh, how often can we have it?" "Whenever you're in the courtyard." He called his wife over and explained the tea situation like it was a legal briefing. She asked if there was a limit per day. My coworker said no. She asked if they could have it in their room. My coworker said we could bring it up. No problem. For the next 3 days, they asked permission every single time before taking tea. "Is it okay if we have tea now? Are we allowed another cup?" My coworker eventually stopped waiting for them to ask and just started refilling their glasses automatically. They never fully relaxed into it. My friend manages a small inn in County Kerry, Ireland. She told me about an American family who stayed for 4 nights. The inn offers a sitting room with a fireplace, books, and board games. It's a common area for all guests. The family, 2 parents and a teenage daughter, barely used it. On their last evening, the daughter finally asked if they could sit by the fire. My friend said, "Of course, that's what it's there for." The mother asked, "Is there an extra charge?" "No, it's part of the inn. Even though we're the only ones using it right now?" "Yes," the father looked around. "It feels weird to just take over the space." My friend laughed. "You're not taking over. You're using a common area. That's normal." They sat by the fire for maybe 20 minutes before going back to their room. The next morning, they mentioned it was the best part of their trip, but they wished they'd known sooner that it was actually okay to be there. I work at a family-run pension in rural Bavaria. We offer a breakfast buffet every morning. Bread, cold cuts, cheeses, jams, boiled eggs, coffee, juice, typical German breakfast. An American man, maybe 65, a retired teacher, came down his first morning. He looked at the buffet and asked, "How much of this can I take?" "As much as you like, but there's only 6 guests. So, I don't want to take too much and leave others with nothing. We refill it." "Don't worry." He made himself a single small plate. Later, I saw him ask another guest if the buffet was supposed to be shared equally. The other guest, a German woman, just stared at him and said, "Take what you want." He never took more than a modest portion. On his last day, he told me the breakfast was wonderful, but he'd felt guilty the whole time. "I'm not used to abundance without strings attached," he said. "I was working at a train station. information desk in Prague when an American student approached me around 8 p.m. She was maybe 22, had a backpack covered in patches, looked stressed. "Excuse me, I think I got on the wrong train earlier and now I'm lost. Can you help me figure out how to get to Brno?" I pulled up the schedule. "There's a train in 40 minutes. Platform 6. Okay, how much do I owe you for checking that?" I blinked. "Nothing. This is an information desk." "Right, but you took time to look it up." "That's my job." She stood there, clearly wanting to give me something. "I really appreciate it, though." "You're welcome. Have a safe trip." She walked away, then came back 2 minutes later with a candy bar from the vending machine. She put it on my desk and left before I could refuse it. It was a Kit Kat. I ate it during my break and thought about how strange it must be to expect every small act of help to come with a price tag. My sister works at a tourist information center in Dubrovnik. Last summer, an American couple in their 50s came in looking for restaurant recommendations. They wanted something local, not touristy, reasonably priced. My sister spent 15 minutes with them, showing them a map, circling 3 restaurants, explaining what each specialized in. She even called one place to check if they had space for dinner. When she finished, the husband pulled out his wallet. "What do we owe you?" "Nothing. This is what we do." "You made a phone call for us." "That's normal. I want you to have a good experience in our city." The wife looked at the marked-up map. "Can we at least buy you coffee?" "That's kind, but I'm working." They left the office, but the husband came back 5 minutes later and left a €10 note on the counter. He was gone before my sister could return it. She told me she felt bad about it, like she'd accidentally made them think the help came with an expected cost. I work at a pharmacy in Singapore. One afternoon, an American woman came in asking about remedies for jet lag. She was in her 30s, corporate type, here for business meetings. I explained a few options, talked about melatonin, sleep hygiene, staying hydrated. Basic advice. Maybe 5 minutes of conversation. She bought some melatonin tablets. At the counter, she said, "Do I pay for the consultation separately?" "There's no consultation fee. You're buying the product." "But you gave me medical advice." "That's part of pharmacy service here." She looked at the receipt like it was missing information. "In the States, I'd be charged for that time. Here, pharmacists are expected to advise customers. It's included in our role." She thanked me 3 times and left looking thoughtful. She came back 2 days later to buy more vitamins and mentioned that she'd been nervous to ask questions because she didn't know how the billing worked. "When I hire you," told her to always ask. "That's what I'm there for." My uncle drives a taxi in Mexico City. He told me about an American tourist, a guy in his 20s, who needed a ride from the airport to his hotel in Polanco. 30-minute drive, normal route. They got stuck in traffic, so my uncle suggested a detour through a less congested area. The guy immediately tensed up. "Will that cost more?" "The meter runs the same either way. I'm just trying to get you there faster." "Are you sure?" My uncle showed him the meter. "See, it goes by time and distance. The faster route helps us both." The guy still seemed suspicious. When they arrived, he asked to see the meter again before paying. He calculated the tip down to exact change, like he was afraid of being overcharged. My uncle said it was funny because he was actually trying to help, but the guy's default mode was distrust. He wondered what must have happened to that kid to make him so guarded about basic kindness. I work at a small museum in Nairobi. We have a lost and found, like any public place. An American woman, maybe 40, came to the desk one afternoon looking panicked. "I think I left my phone in the gallery. Can someone check?" I radioed our security guard. He found it in 3 minutes. I handed it back to her. She exhaled in relief. "Oh my God, thank you." "What's the fee?" "No fee. We're just returning your property." "Are you sure? You sent someone to look for it." "That's his job." She insisted on donating to the museum. I pointed her to the donation box. She put in what looked like 1,000 shillings, way more than a lost and found service would ever cost. As she left, she said, "You guys are amazing. In the States, I'd probably have to file a claim or something. I think that stuck with me, the idea that retrieving your own phone could be a bureaucratic process, instead of just someone helping you out. My friend works at a language school in Seoul. An American teacher joined the staff mid-semester. On his first day, a Korean coworker spent her lunch break helping him set up his phone plan, showing him the Subway app, explaining how to use the convenience store. At the end of the day, he approached her with an envelope. "For your time earlier." Inside was cash. She refused it, confused. "You helped me for an hour. So? You're my coworker." "But it was your lunch break. I took up your personal time." She explained that in Korea, helping new coworkers settle in is just expected. It's part of building a good work environment. He couldn't wrap his head around it. He kept trying to repay her in different ways, buying her coffee, offering to cover her lunch. She eventually told him, "The way you repay me is by helping the next new person who arrives." He finally got it. I was working at a border, crossing between Poland and Ukraine, when an American man in his early 70s came through on a volunteer aid trip. He'd driven a van full of donated supplies from Germany. The process took about an hour. Paperwork, vehicle inspection, standard procedure. During that time, one of my colleagues noticed his van had a flat tire. Without saying anything, she and another officer helped him change it while he was inside dealing with documentation. When he came out and saw the new tire, he was speechless. "You fixed my tire?" "Yes, you couldn't drive safely with it flat." "How much do I owe you?" "Nothing. You're doing volunteer work. We wanted to help." He stood there for a long moment, and I realized he was tearing up. I don't know what to say. Say, "Thank you and drive safely." He tried to give us money. We refused. He tried to give us some of the supplies from his van. We told him to deliver them where they were needed. Finally, he just shook our hands for a long time and kept saying, "God bless you." After he left, my colleague said, "He acted like we'd saved his life. We just changed a tire." But I understood it. For him, maybe it wasn't about the tire. It was about experiencing help that came with no transaction, no receipt, no expectation of repayment. Just people being decent because that's what you do. That's the thing that connects all these stories. Americans so used to every service, every kindness, every moment of assistance being monetized that free help feels suspicious, or overwhelming, or like a debt they'll carry. It's not their fault. It's what they've learned. When coffee refills cost extra, when sitting in a common area requires permission, when a pharmacist's advice comes with a consultation fee, you learn to see strings attached to everything. But hospitality, real hospitality, doesn't work that way. It's not a transaction. It's not a test. It's just the default setting of treating guests like they matter. The lawyer from Kyoto ended up staying an extra night. She left a note saying the rice crackers grew on her. The firefighter from Michigan sent my company an email praising the tour, specifically mentioning the unlimited coffee policy. The student in Finland came back to the library every week and eventually volunteered there. People adjust. They learn. They start to trust that free can actually mean free, that help can be just help. And these stories, they never stop coming. Every season brings new faces, new confusions, new moments of Americans slowly realizing that maybe, just maybe, the world isn't always trying to charge them for existing in it.